The 40 years that National Night Out has been happening, we've probably been doing it for at least 25, maybe 30 years here in Benicia. Why? Because somebody parked a stolen truck in front of my house, and then somebody broke in up the street, and I said, we need a neighborhood watch here. And so Gun, who is the supplier of most of our tables here tonight, thank you, Gun. She's a party in a box. She lives straight across the street. She said there's a sign for neighborhood watch up at the top. And I said, I'm going to find out about it. And sure enough, Patty Barron has been doing Neighborhood Watch and organizing us for so many years. But for me, the thrill of Neighborhood Watch and National Night Out is getting to meet and have a celebration with all the neighbors. We've got Shirley, we've got Marina Place, we've got Incline, finally represented Incline, Raymond, Shannon Court, and Tamara. So we're expanding our way, and the way to do that, just to pass it along, is to have 2 Scottish Terriers, and you walk the whole neighborhood, and you recruit as you go. That's how you do it. But we not only are we happy to be here as neighbors, but we are really pleased that our city officials, our electeds, our fire and fire who are out on a job right now, and police do everything to help keep us safe and make Benicia such a beautiful place.
But for being a regular and active member of the community, and the unofficial videographer for all things that happen.
Yeah, here we are.
Here. Night Out is a great thing. I wish it happened more often. It would be nice if these gatherings could happen without the city or a fire truck as the attraction.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of issues that everybody has, that everybody is concerned about, and this isn't the only time that you can raise those issues with us. I want to introduce Councilwoman Carrie Birdseye.
Yay, Carrie.
And Interim City Manager Mario Giuliani.
Yay, Mario.
And also, of course, our help from the police and fire who have been here.
And Copper.
Well, he's one of those. But we have lots of challenges in front of us as a community.
Right.
And we're going to need your help and support going forward. And you'll probably be hearing more about this as we get deeper into the year. But there are challenges ahead, but I think we can overcome them. But we are going to need the support of the people to do that. And so I'll leave it at that without getting too specific. You'll have another chance to vote for a road tax in March. So I know that one went down closely last time. Everybody knows how bad our roads are. This is an opportunity to actually fix them. But we're going to need people's support to do that. So I'll stop there. I don't know if Carrie or Mario wants to say anything.
This is my first National Night Out, and it's been such a pleasure.
Yay!
You're our second stop, and thank you, Constance, for hosting us.
Sure.
And I mean, this is what community service is all about. Getting to know folks that you don't already know, and you know, if you ever have any questions, need anything from the city, call him.
Have cards. You need a card.
Like delegation.
That's how it works, right?
Well done.
Yeah.
I know.
Well said.
And I know you don't need fans this evening, but you probably will this weekend. So if anybody would like one.
Well, we are fans of the city, for sure.
About why we need to go to our residents and ask for more money. It's important to understand why we're in that situation to begin with. And so I wanted to just highlight just kind of a few facts that I've shared in my messaging, but I'll use this opportunity to say again. Right, the charm that we have in Benicia, there's a cost to that. Do you know that 25% of our entire land area is open space? We don't want to see anything in our open space except goats, right? That last 13 years, we've only had 4 permits pulled for new construction for commercial or industrial. We don't have big box in Benicia. Our population is not growing. We've grown less than 100 people in the last 20 years, and we've only gotten older. And we're projected to decline in population over the next 3. So your population isn't growing, we're not building new homes, we're not building new industry. Our revenue, most of which comes from either property tax or other types of sales tax, we shop elsewhere. And so when you have a community that isn't growing, we've been living off our savings for the last decade. And so that's, in a nutshell, why we are in a position that we're in today, and we're unlike other cities that you may be seeing growing, or they have a much bigger kind of retail component to help support city services. So then we're tasked with kind of really a calculus of two things. We either have to have the people that are deriving the benefit from those services pay more, or we have to have a little bit less service. And that is the kind of construct that we're faced with in the next couple of years. And so what we've laid out is a variety of different ways to kind of increase revenue into the city. So we know that in 2024 we have two elections. We have a primary election in March. We have a general election in November. The mayor talked about a citizens group that is putting together an effort to put a measure on that's specific, meaning that's just for roads. You recall November, when a city government does that, we can put on a ballot measure, and if it's specific, we need 2/3 vote, right? So almost 67% of the vote needs to vote yes in order to have that pass. Incredibly hard. So we put a general measure that we were saying, hey, it's really for roads. And I think for a variety of reasons, the community was like, we're not there yet. So a citizens group's going to put that on, and because a citizen puts it on, now they have to get 2,400 signatures in order to get it on the ballot. And if they can do that, it'll go on in March. And if it passes, it's specific, which means it can only be used for roads. So that's one way to address a need. To your point, there's other things that we need. We're also going to put on in the March ballot a transient occupancy tax. That's TOT, and your hotel tax. Benicia's current rate's 9%. So when you go stay anywhere, I would guess you do not pay 9%. It's probably a lot higher. It's going to be 12, 13. If you're in San Francisco, it's going to be 16. We're going to look to probably increase that to bring it up to about 13%. That will generate only about $250,000 of revenue, but it could pave the way to get a new hotel downtown, right? So it's almost an economic development incentive. If that happens, that could increase our transient occupancy tax kind of annual haul over $1 million. Now that's significant, and that makes a difference. Then in November, we can put up a general sales tax, much like we did in Measure C in 2014, probably also half a cent. That could generate anywhere between $4 million to $4.5 million, because that won't go into effect until about 2025. So those things alone could generate anywhere between $5 to $6 million that can assist our general fund. Now we're still going to have to do more, which means that we're still going to have to make internal adjustments on how we kind of invest the resources we have to deliver service. And the result is we're going to have a difficult couple of years. There's no way around it. What that means is we're going to have to rely on more volunteers. We're going to have to ask our employees that are here committing their time, they're going to have to do a heavier load. We're not overpaid. We are below market in the region. And that's not to say that the city employees don't make a good salary as compared to the median household income in Benicia. Absolutely true, and it's important to acknowledge that, right? The people that are providing services are making more money than the average household income in Benicia, which is $108,000. The average city compensation is more than that, okay? And we have to acknowledge that and be forward with that. But we also have to recognize that when you look market-wise and regional, we're well below market, so it's hard to keep people and retain them, okay? So we're just gonna have to do a little bit more in the next couple of years, and then we're gonna have other opportunities in 25 to address parks. We have L&Ls, landscape and lighting districts, that were put in place in the 1980s. There's no escalator. Right? These are some of the things that we just have to deal with. And when no escalator means the people that are paying those are the same costs that they had in the 1980s and 1990s. Well, I can tell you what, expenses have gone up since the 1980s and 1990s. And so we have to address that. And then we're going to have to come back in 26 and do some other things like addressing our business license tax. We may look at an opportunity to find a tax similar to what they have in Vallejo for a property transfer tax. So when you sell your property, there's a tax in addition that Benicia could get. Vallejo has it. We're looking to maybe match that. So there's all different ways in which we can look to have different revenue streams into the city, both targeted for specific needs as well as general.
And the efficiencies part.
Right, and and absolutely, there's going to be an aspect where we're going to have to do things internally to be kind of more efficient. and we're going to have to rely upon our community. You know, we just celebrated 4th of July. The city of Benicia did not pay for those fireworks, right? That came primarily from Republic Services and Ace Hardware, facilitated by the Benicia Community Foundation, volunteers. And I'm going to be, and the council's going to be asking for our community to step up and help out in ways that they haven't before. You're going to see a lot of effort to kind of look upon our organizations that we have in our community to do that. But sometimes it's easier said than done, right? There are still, because it's public property, there's sometimes you have to still adhere to state rules. You still have to adhere to purchasing rules. You still have to adhere to labor rules. When you talk about looking at the Playground of Dreams, which someone mentioned earlier, right? And it's somewhat, we got to get going. It's, you know, obviously, you know, it's tough. We go there and we're like, why are the swings gone? Why are these other features gone? Well, it's state law, right? When things go in disrepair, it no longer meets code. And so you can't replace something that doesn't meet code. The state requires that you have a certified playground inspector to do that work. So it's not like we can just pull someone off the street as a volunteer that wants to do work. They have to meet certain state codes to do that. So it's going to require some effort from the city as well as volunteers to do some things that they can do, and then other things are still going to have to rely on the city to do. So there's some complexity there for sure. Are you our timekeeper? I guess. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, yay.